Hello and welcome to the chapter of indices. Today we'll start off with an introduction. I'm sure you're familiar with this expression, a to the power of n. For example, 8 to the power of 5. 8 is called the base and 5 is called the, well, you're right, it's called the power. For today we'll learn a new term and we call it the index. Therefore, indices is actually the plural for index. Let's recall a to the power of n is actually a multiplied by a n number of times. For example, 3 to the power of 5 is 3 multiplied by 3, 5 times. It is important that you remember this because we are going to use this for the rest of our chapters. Why is it important to learn indices? The distance between the sun and the earth is, well, I'm not going to read this, it is actually quite a mouthful. Imagine writing all these numbers in your mathematical calculations. Instead, we can write it as 1.496 times 10 to the power of 13. This is actually called the standard form, which we will learn in the later part of this chapter. For now, I would just like to bring your attention to the index 13. Instead of writing all the zeros at the end, we can write it as 10 to the power of 13. I'm now going to give you some more examples of very big and very small numbers. The world's population was 7.08 billion people in 2012. That's a lot of zeros to write again. Instead, we can write it as 7.08 times 10 to the power of 9 people. For a very small number, we are going to use the example of a red blood cell. The diameter of a red blood cell is approximately 80 micrometers. We can write it as 80 times 10 to the power of negative 6 meters or 8 times 10 to the power of negative 5 meters. Now, how do we get from here to here? We are going to learn this in the later part of the chapter as well. For an even smaller example, we are going to look at the strand of a human DNA. It is only 2.5 nanometers in diameter. Or we can write it as 2.5 times 10 to the power of negative 9 meters instead of writing all the zeros at the beginning. Previously, you see some new terms such as micro and nano. So what are these terms? These terms are actually prefixes. Prefixes are terms that are attached in front of an unit. Later on, I'll give you some examples to better illustrate what are prefixes. For now, you need to memorize all these prefixes for this chapter. For example, 10 to the power of 12 is represented by the prefix tera, 10 to the power of 9 is represented by giga, 10 to the power of 6 mega, 10 to the power of 3 kilo, 10 to the power of negative 3 milli, 10 to the power of negative 6 micro, 10 to the power of negative 9 nano, and 10 to the power of negative 12 pico. In addition, you need to remember the names given for this power as well. For example, the name for 10 to the power of 12 is trillion, and the name for 10 to the power of negative 12 is trillion with a th. I will now illustrate how prefix, powers, the ordinary forms, and the name are related. For example, a hard disk has a memory of 2 terabytes or 2 TB. Now, tera is the prefix and byte is the unit. We can write it as 2 times 10 to the power of 12 or 2 with 12 zeros behind. Now, this is called your ordinary form. Finally, you can also call it 2 trillion bytes, where trillion is the name given to the power 12. I will now give you 2 more examples seen previously. A strand of human DNA is 2.5 nanometers. Do you know where is the prefix? Yes, you are right. Nano is the prefix. And where is the unit? The meters is the unit. And can you find the ordinary form here? Yes, you are right. This is the ordinary form. We previously mentioned that the world's population was 7.08 billion people. Now, can you find the prefix? Yes, you are right. There is actually no prefix here. But can you find the unit? Yes, the unit is people. And billion is the name given to the power 9. Can you find the ordinary form? Yes, this is the ordinary form. And now we come to an end to the introduction of indices. Do remember to click on the PowerPoints to learn more about positive indices. And remember, you will need to memorize the prefixes and the three laws of indices which you will learn later.